Okay, so here we go. So we're gonna create this table. Okay, don't, oh, it's okay, Kaylee. So, Kaylee, make sure you open up this document here in the work for today using formulas in Google Sheets. All right. So we're gonna create this table today, and please try and stay with me. Don't try to jump ahead, even if you know what you're doing. There's sometimes that maybe you think you know what you're doing, and then as you go, you're like, oh, I forget exactly what to do here. So let's just all go at the same pace, all do it at the same time. Okay, even if you think you know what you're doing. Okay, so we're gonna go step by step here. The first thing I want you guys to do is we're gonna create all of these headings. Okay, and all of these: height, time trial 1, time trial 2, time trial 3, average time, experimental average speed, theoretical average speed, and percent error. They're all going to be in the same row. Okay, they're all going to be in the same row. All right, so let's do that first. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to do it as well. For this one, I forgot to add the units, so I just put the units in there. Okay, next thing, we're gonna do the right above these, any one of these time trial ones. It actually doesn't matter which one we put it in. Just put time of fall in seconds. Doesn't matter which one you put it in. So time of fall. Okay, next we're gonna clean it up a bit. So we're gonna merge these 3 cells, these time of fall, merge them all so they're all one thing here. So click on all of them or select all of them, and then go to Format, Merge Cells, and Merge All. Okay. Next, we want to get rid of, we don't want to have like these, so when we're eventually going to add these, the borders, if we keep it like this, there'll be a border between this one and this one. So let's get rid of that border by merging the cells here. So I'm going to select these two, and I'm going to merge these cells as well. So merge cells, merge all. And I'm going to do that for the other ones as well. So here, average time, format, merge cells, merge all, and I'm going to do it for all of these. Okay, and then I do want to make all these centered. So I'm going to center them. So I select all of them. And then I'm going to center them. And I'm going to make them bold. I'm also going to wrap the text. As you can see, when I wrap the text, these ones are still like, there's not enough space in these ones. So I want to make these cells a little bit bigger, but I don't want to make it awkward. Like if we were just to make this bigger or smaller, I guess I just made it smaller. If we were to make it, if we were to make this one bigger, I think it looks kind of awkward. I don't know. I mean, that works, I guess. But I'm just going to merge the cells above it. So I'm just going to merge these ones too. I'm going to merge these. You can make the cell, you can just make it bigger if you want, but I don't know. I did it this way. I think it just keeps everything like a nice, you have a definitive like size for all the cells. So that's why I like to rather merge them rather than trying to change the size of the cells here. Okay. So merge these ones. These ones. Really cold the last couple of days. It's cold right now. I'm freezing. Okay, so that looks a little bit nicer, and then all of them are pretty like, they're all 3 cells high. All exactly 3 cells high. I think it just looks better that way. And now everything fits. Everything looks nice. Oh, average time. I forgot to add the seconds here. Okay. So hopefully everyone's with me so far. Okay, next thing, we're gonna just input some of these values. Okay, so everything actually, let's see, everything up to time trial 3, we're gonna input manually. So these first 4 columns, we're gonna input manually. These other columns, we're actually not gonna input manually. We're gonna use formulas to do that. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is input these first 4 columns manually. So let's do that. Okay, so hopefully everyone got those values inputted. Okay, so the next part here is we're going to be inserting some formulas. Okay, now these formulas will help us, they'll actually calculate values inside the program here. All right, so we're going to click on this cell for average time. Okay, and then we're going to hit equals, the equal sign. Okay, and once the equal sign comes up, okay, that means that we're going to be inputting a formula to do a calculation. Okay, and they do have a suggestion here for average, but I'm just going to do it manually. So I'm going to put A, and then as I do that, there'll be different formulas that come up, and you'll see that they all are coming up, and I'm going to select average. Okay, so I'm taking an average of some values, and the values that I want, I have to select. Okay, so I can take this one and I can drag across. So I click on that and I dragged across. And then once I do that, I just hit enter. Okay. And they do like these autofill things, but we're going to ignore that for right now. Okay. So basically now, if you look at this, there's actually inside the cell, there's a formula. So this number isn't actually a number, it's actually a formula, and then it's the result of the formula. It's the answer to the formula. Okay. So one more time, I'll do it one more time, I'll do it again. So again, equal sign, and then I start typing in average and it'll come up. There, average. And then I select the ones I want. I click and drag. Click, drag, and hit enter. Okay. Now I want to do that for all of these. So I want to find the average time for each trial, or for all the trials together, I should say, for each height. So I'm just going to take the bottom right hand corner here, this little box right there, and I'm going to drag it to the bottom. There you go. Now I have all these averages. We'll worry about these decimals in a minute. We're going to fix these so that they're all 2 decimals in a sec. And at the end, we'll do that at the end. Okay. So don't worry about these just yet. We'll fix it afterwards. Okay. So that was the average. So now you see what it's saying here is that I have the average of cells D17. So D17 all the way to F17, so F17. So D17, E17, F17, the average of those 3. Okay, if we go down to the next one, now it says D18 to F18. So I'm taking the average of those 3. Okay. Now next one, I want to find the experimental average speed. So speed is just distance over time. So we're doing the height over the time, over the average time. Okay, so again, we're going to use a formula here. So we hit equals. And in this case, I don't have to like type in anything. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, okay, I want the height over the time. So I'm going to say height. So select this cell right here. So I put equals, and then I'm going to select this cell. And then I'm going to hit divide, and the divide is just the back slash. So it's usually near the bottom right-hand corner of your keypad. Okay, so that means divided by. Okay, and then it's height divided by average time. So just click on that cell. So C17 divided by G17. And then when you enter, it'll give you an answer. Okay, I'll do it one more time. So equals height backslash time. Enter. And then we want to do that for all of them. So we just take the bottom right-hand corner here and drag it down. Great, right? Okay, theoretical average speed. So this one's a little bit tricky. We need to put in a formula that, and this is the formula here. So I put it right, I gave it to you right here. It's 1/2, it's really the square root of 1/2 times gravity times the height. Okay, but let's do it in terms of what we have here. Okay, so again, equal sign. And then I'm going to put 2 parentheses in the front because we have to kind of group things together a little bit here. Or I guess I don't need 2 parentheses. I just need 1. This is 1 parentheses, sorry. So equals 1 parentheses. He looks sad. A little sad face. Okay, so sad face. And then 0.5 or 1/2. And then times. Now times is shift 8. Shift 8, it's the star. It's not X, it's the star. So shift and then 8. It holds shift and then 8 and you'll get the times. So 0.5 times 9.8, and that is the acceleration due to gravity, 9.8 meters per second squared. And then we're multiplying that by the height. So again, shift 8, another star. And we're multiplying by the height. So here we're going to click on the cell for height. Close parentheses. So that means we're going to do this first. And then we're taking the square root of that. So if you're not aware, the square root is the same thing as to the power of the 1/2. So square root is whatever to 1/2 power. That's square root, same thing. There is also a square root. There is a square root function too. We could do it that way too. And I'll do it that way as well. But I just figured it'd be easier this way. So we do shift 6, the little caret sign. So shift 6, that little caret means to the power of, and then in parentheses, we want 1 divided by 2, or you could even write 0.5 to the 0.5, doesn't matter. So we could do it to the 1/2, or we can even say 0.5, doesn't matter. Okay, when you hit that, you should get an answer. Okay, and then you would drag it down. Okay, like I said again, there is another way to do it. You could say square root, so square root equals SQRT. So square root here. And then you put the other stuff in here. So 0.5 times 9.8 times the height. Close. And you get the same answer. Okay, 2 ways to do it. Either you could do it either way. Okay, you could follow this formula right here, or you can do like the one I have here with the square root. Doesn't really matter. And then drag it down. Okay. Doing so good so far, right? Yeah? No? Anyone stuck, having trouble? Okay. Last thing here. Last thing. This one's a little bit tricky because there's quite a few parentheses in here. Because we need to do theoretical minus experimental first. divide that by theoretical, and then multiply that whole thing by 100. So this one for percent error, we're going to hit equals. And this one we need two parentheses. And we're going to do theoretical. So we're going to click on that cell here. Then minus experimental. So minus, then click on the experimental. Then close parentheses, because we got to do that first. And divide it by the theoretical. So again, click on this cell again. Then close parentheses again. So now we're doing the subtraction first, then we're doing the division, and then we have to multiply that by 100. So times or star 100. That will give us the percent error. So how far off are we? Okay, and then drag down to the bottom. Okay, and again, it's here if you need it, the formulas. Okay, so it looks pretty good. But you notice all these numbers, they're kind of like all different. All right, let me just go through that one more time, just in case anyone missed it. Go through it one more time. So equals, double parentheses, and we're going to do theoretical, so click on the theoretical, minus the experimental, then close parentheses, backslash, divided by, so divided by the theoretical, close parentheses, then star or multiply by 100. Okay, and then we're going to drag that down. Okay, now we want to change these numbers to make them prettier. Okay, so typically we'll take them, we'll highlight all of them. You can, I think you need to actually go to data. Oh no, not data. Format, number, yeah, format, sorry. So format, then you go to number, and right now it's automatic, but we want it, just put it in number. Put it in this one. This one works pretty good. Now everything has 2 decimal places. That's a pretty good thing. Okay. We can increase the number of decimal places if we want. Increase, increase, increase. Or we can decrease them. Decrease, decrease, decrease. Right? There's also other formats we can change it to. So for example, this is actually a percent. So we could actually change these to percent. So format and change this to a percent if we wanted to. But that's actually not really accurate because I multiplied it by 100. So let's not do that. Yeah. So I already changed it to a percent when I did the formula. Oops. If you ever make a mistake, just hit Control Z. That always undoes your stuff. So I already multiplied it by 100, and that made it into this percent. Okay, if we get rid of the 100, so let's just do this. We could do it that way too. Get rid of this 100, and then we can bring it down, and then we can change these all into percent, and now it'll be right. So now it's actually the right percentage. But that's okay if you didn't do that. Okay, also I like my numbers usually like to be, they don't want to be centered, they want to be either, they want to be on the, to the right, they want to be right justified. So you see how they're right justified here, right justified. Okay, typically headings want to be centered. Okay. And then usually names of things want to be left justified. Like if these were not numerical, but words instead, they want to be left justified. That's usually typically how we do it. Okay. Last thing we got to do is add the borders. So let's add borders. Bam, bam. We'll add borders everywhere. We can even make it, if you want to, you can make the borders on top a little bit darker if you want. You can make it a little bit thicker on top if you like to do that. Typically, though, that's not suggested that you do that. I know some people like to do it, but you don't have to. And you don't want to make it too crazy. So let's make it, oops. Yeah. If you want to make sure all the cells, the columns, I know there's a way to do that. You can even look up cleanup suggestions if you want. No suggestions. No, looks pretty good then. Data, format. Yeah, I guess that's really all. That's really it that I wanted to say in there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so now we have a nice, beautiful chart here, or table, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and if we did this experiment again, right, and we wanted to copy this chart, and now we're going to change our values. As we change our values, all of these calculations, all these things that are calculated will automatically change, which is nice. You know, so if we just change this, maybe now it's 5, this is 9. If you notice, all the values are changing. Let's go 1, 1, 1. See how everything's changing to the right here as I do that? So watch over here as I change these values. Oops. All the calculations are changing as well. So it's really nice when you have something like that. If you're doing an experiment with multiple trials or multiple, not even trials, but multiple, you're doing this experiment many times. Okay. This works for a lot of other things too. Like I said, I use it for like keeping track of the stocks I have. You can make budgets with this, with these kinds of things. Just really simple stuff. Okay. Works with addition, subtraction, multiplication. There's all sorts of formulas that you can use in there. I just showed you some of the basics here. Okay. All right. Well, your job now, and I'll be in the classroom to help you out if you need it, if you get stuck, is you're going to create this chart here. Okay. And you need to use calculations for everything in red. Okay. So you want to create this chart here just like this. Okay, but all these should be calculations. All these should be formulas. Everything in red should be formulas. Okay, when I check your work, I can easily check to see if it's formulas. I just click on the cell, and if a formula comes up top here, then I know it's a formula. Okay, so that's your job now. Complete that. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording.